Good afternoon. This is Business Watch, where we put the spotlight on the business arena, seeking insights into business issues that matter to you. My name is Stephen Kimani. And every Friday, as we close the week, we end up in the workplace and look at ways of enhancing your productivity in life. And today, we want to discuss a topic that probably most of us grapple with at some point. What area of passion do we have as individuals? And we'd like to understand how to identify it and how to also turn it into profit. And here with me to discuss this topic is Frida Owinga. She is a passionpreneur, coach, and speaker from an organization called Passion Profit School of Entrepreneurship. Welcome to Business Watch.
Thanks, Steve.
Good. Perhaps we'll just begin by getting to know the organization a little bit better. I'm sure for most of us, we're hearing it for the first time.
Yeah, I'm sure about that. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. Passion Profit is a school of entrepreneurship, and basically it's a coaching program to help individuals to develop skills that will help them create, manage, and grow successful businesses. Our classes are small, practical, and very hands-on because it's a coaching concept. It's not a telling concept. So people come into class, and right from day one, we help them to identify what is their passion.
Yes.
We go through a couple of exercises and use, some tools to help them. If they have an idea, we try to see, does that idea match their inborn passion? Is that idea viable to the different needs that are within the society before we move on? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's very practical and it's very hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I like the tagline that the Passion Profit School of Entrepreneurship has, from idea to reality and beyond.
Yes.
First, I think as I've just introduced, for most of us, generating those ideas, identifying what we really want to do is the biggest difficulty. How does one go about that?
First of all, it takes some reflection on the individual's part. And the first place to start is when somebody is dissatisfied with what it is they're doing, that is an inkling that there's something wrong or they're in the wrong kind of work that they're doing. And then also when one is dissatisfied, and then when you keep having a wish or an idea of something that is different from what it is that you're currently doing. So that is the place to start. Next is getting them in a quiet place and having them answer some questions, because most of the time people are so busy and we're stuck in a rut and we're doing the same things over and over again, and we keep feeling we don't have time, and life is just going on, time is just moving. So we kind of need to step out of that and step back and start thinking. And most of the times people are older and we've been conditioned in a certain way, and maybe you've been working for several years, so you're thinking, I am this degree. And sometimes that degree is a degree you got because that is what your results got you, but it's not what you really wanted to do. So you've been conditioned to think that is who you are, but you're not. So you have to step out of that and start and begin to reflect, who am I really? What really makes me tick? What are the kind of things that I enjoy? And we help you through that process. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and normally when we go through that, then we begin to see a thread that's weaving through, right from when you're a kid to where you are right now. There are things that you like, but you just haven't had time to think about them, or you have been conditioned not to think about them or to value them based on the way our culture is. And then that, normally a light bulb goes off. People come and think, oh, I'm confused. Oh, I really don't know what I need to do. But it's just because they haven't taken that time to sit down and begin to write those thoughts down. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You said that probably, for most of us, what we simply need is time out and ask ourselves some critical questions.
Yes.
What will those critical questions be when one is trying to identify what drives them, what keeps them going?
One thing I ask people all the time is, what do you want in life? When you think, like, let's imagine resources were not a hindrance. 10 years from today, where would you like to be? And sometimes people don't think that far because we just think about the next paycheck and the next bill and stuff like that. And when you get people in that comfortable space to start thinking about things like that, then they surprise even themselves. And they start thinking, wow, I didn't realize that I still have that dream inside of me. But that's where we start.
Mm-hmm. Talents, are they part of the assessment around identifying where one's passion lies?
Absolutely, because they're very closely related. Your talents, your giftings, your strengths, and sometimes the skills that you have acquired so far. But mostly it also borders on the things that people ask you to do. the things that people ask us to do that come easily to us and we think everybody knows how to do them. Like it could be planning, it could be organizing, it could be as simple as putting a report together. Not everybody does these things easily, but sometimes because we do them easily, we begin to think everybody does this easily. But just depending on how you package it and how you present it, you could turn it into profit to somebody who needs that skill and they don't have it.
Let's now delve into one of the areas that you focus on as a passionpreneur, coach, and trainer.
Yes.
And that is speaking. Granted, not every one of us is good at speaking.
Okay.
Some of us will consider ourselves shy.
You speak very well.
Maybe even camera shy for that matter. But either way,
Okay.
we get along
Yes.
in this profession. Just give some tips around speaking and how one can turn that gift or passion into a profitable venture.
Cool. It's not whether you're shy or you feel you're an introvert or whatever. We all have a story, but some of us have a story we want to tell. And if you want to tell your story, that could be a way to turn that into profit. Maybe you went through a difficult childhood. Maybe you've been abroad and come back, and you're trying to fit in was a problem. It could be something that you can help with people that are coming back. So it all starts with, what are some of the experiences that you've gone through in life? That's one way. Another way is also, what are some of the things that you have excelled in school, like people who are coming up as thought leaders, people that are good at leadership and stuff like that. And because you want to be a speaker, I need to say this gently, just because you can speak doesn't mean that you will be a professional speaker, because you need to package it in a presentable way. You need to understand your target audience. Will they be able to receive you? Understand how to speak, what your body language is doing to your audience. How can you adjust that? The first impressions, when people see you, what do they think? What comes up to them? Do you really connect with the people that you're wanting to connect with? I've noticed a lot since I came back home that they are speakers, but there's that aspect of the professionalism that is lacking. Or like even they think that, okay, every speaker needs to write a book, and then everybody's writing a book, like everybody suddenly is singing. But when you look at the content of the book and even the way it is laid out, it will not give you margin profitably. So one of the things we are coming up with in collaboration with Speak to Africa is a Speakers Academy to help those people who believe that they want to speak, they want to tell their story, and they want to turn it into profit. So we help them to crystallize that story so that they can say it in a way that is that will meet their audience's needs. If they want to write a book, how do they write that book in a way that is palatable to the audience, a book that will have mileage and give them, profitable mileage for that matter. And as I do this, as I speak, people have come up to me, especially the younger generation, and said, I want to be a motivational speaker. Can you help me? I've had quite a number of those kinds of requests. Then that's why I came up, and my friend Wendy, who is the executive director for Speak to Africa that we're collaborating with, she has a bureau. She helps speakers find events. So we thought if we came together, then we could help the speakers polish their craft, and then they become professional speakers. Yes.
Motivational speaking, indeed, it's a growing area.
Yes.
Across the world, and I think Kenya is beginning to appreciate the need for motivational speakers. I take it that one of the first things that a motivational speaker needs to have is a story about their lives.
Yes.
How do you put that across in a way that's both compelling and inspirational?
First, you have to be crystal clear. Do people want to hear your story? Is it a story that will help someone? And then you have to be convinced yourself that, yeah, this is something I went through, and somebody else might be going through this, and I believe that I can help them. Because if you don't buy into your own message, it tells when you're speaking. People can tell you lack the confidence, you lack the energy, you lack the enthusiasm. So if you're going to be motivational, you have to be inspirational. Your body language, your energy, the way you carry your words. And the stories will differ, and I'd have to have an example of a story or hear someone's story to help them know that, yeah, this is something that would fly. And motivational speaking also, because times are hard and there's not enough money to go through the month. If you're earning a paycheck, people are thinking, oh, what do I do beyond this? And we're at the end of the year when companies are having events for appreciation for their employees, and they're thinking, what one thing can we do to make the event a big highlight, and just encourage people, just inspire people, just to give them this push to keep pressing on. That's where motivational speaking comes. So you find a story that can engage people, can inspire people, and just bring them up from, give them hope. Really build them up and give them hope.
And I think that for me brings a very good example, Barack Obama.
Yeah.
No one knew him probably before 2004.
Yes.
But suddenly, the man had a book, the man spoke about himself and inspired the world.
And when you look at Barack Obama, he's professional, the way he stands out, the way he dresses, the way he speaks, the way he's personable. And I don't believe those are things that he was born with. They're things that we learn. So part of what you're going to do at the Speakers Academy is to teach people to be like that. Because the way, just a simple thing like smiling or just personal grooming, those are not things that we are ordinarily taught, in our culture. So, and they're things that are important if you're coming to stand in front of someone, and especially if you want to ask for a fee for it. So there are things that are important and things that will make a difference if one wants to be a professional speaker. Yes.
Professional outlook. Perhaps that's a very big word. How do we break it down? Is it just a matter of how I look on the outward?
A lot of people think that, and sometimes people confuse that, but I think it really begins on the inside. What are your core values? Do you really value excellence? Do you really value what you're giving to people? You need to value that from right deep inside. And then even when we teach you how to dress properly, how to have the right colors and everything, that is flowing naturally. It's not fake. So first we try to get, what are your core values? And what is it that you want to engage with your clients on, so that whatever it is that you're doing is not fake, but it's authentic. And people can feel authentic, and people can tell the difference between authentic and fake. So it's very important that it comes from the inside.
How about the tone of voice? I think for some of us, we're used to hearing people speaking in what I understand is called a stentorian voice. Almost what the former Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission director, must use colorful language, colorful words.
No, simplicity is the key. And you have to understand your audience. Communication is about engaging with others, that they hear and understand and begin to do what you're asking them to do or you're sharing with them. If they don't, then you did not communicate. And no offense to our colorful speaker. He just needs to understand, who is he speaking to? Do they understand those things? Are people really connecting with him? So that at the end of the day, you're not just impressing people with big grammar and not making impact. So you have to be careful that you are communicating. Your message is being received. Your message is going to transform lives. And how it transforms lives is that I heard, it touched my heart, and I'm stepping out and I'm going to begin to do some of the things that you said. If I'm not going to do that, then the speaker did not communicate. Yes.
Beyond inspiring, let's also look at turning it into profit. Speaking really for me looks like something that one has to learn to do. But now turning it into a profitable venture. What are the mechanics around that?
It's kind of more or less like how you start a business. What is your product? What is your service? So once we find out what is your story, how do we package it into a product? And what are the different, like for instance, passion to profit. Passion Profit has a keynote speech. Like I have a speech that I can do for 5 minutes, I can do for 30 minutes, I can do a whole day program. And there's 5 tips on how to turn your passion into profit, because that is what I'm passionate about. That is what I want to speak about. That is what I want to write a book about. That is what I do my coaching on. So when people come to our class, that is what will help them do. What is that thing that you want to speak about, and how can we package it into a product? How can we give it a name? What are some of the things that you may need to patent so that somebody doesn't copy it? It may be something around success. It may be some solutions that you have provided that we could transform into some kind of system. So once we package it into a product, and then we package the individual also, we brand them to match this product that they have packaged, then you can begin to sell. So we take you through the sales process. How do you attract clients? How do you find these clients? Who is your target audience, and we help you profile that person. And then how do you meet this person and how do you present this? And a simple way, like one major thing speakers need to do is have a simple DVD of, what it is that you're speaking on. Oftentimes people want to tell others who they are, the degrees they have, and all that kind of thing. But people are more interested in what solution do you have? Okay, if I listen to you, how will my life change? So just having having a 2 to 3 minute DVD on your website that can tell people that, that can touch their pain point and show them how you can transform that into pleasure, helps you to sell that product. You're speaking as a product. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Identifying your audience. Mm-hmm. Definitely you'll not be able to speak to everybody.
You better not, if you know what's good for you. Mm-hmm. People tend to say that, everybody will listen to me. But you have to be true to yourself and think, do I want to speak to corporations? Do you want to speak to women groups? Because if it's a woman that has gone through a certain problem, maybe she wants to help other women so that they don't go through that problem. So your target audience will be women. A good example is Alabastron. I saw her on the bench the other day with Jeff. She was talking about her solutions are for women. People ask about Alabastron men, but she's sticking with the women because she knows that these solutions are good for women. So that is one thing that we do with the speaker. We find out what is it that you're passionate about, that you want to speak about, and then we find out who will be ready to listen to this. Who are the kind of people that you work with? And we test it. We ask people, would something like this be of interest to you? We ask the media, would something like this be of interest to you? And we listen to the responses. So before we jump out, we do that kind of research. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So research into who you want to talk to is very important.
Who would be receptive to your message, yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. How about conducting the business of talking to people? I sometimes see people moving almost as if they were roving ambassadors across countries, across towns. Mm-hmm. How do you make that organized and structured?
Systems. You develop systems. Mm-hmm. Like it's just like how you'd market a product. Okay, let's say for instance, again, passion to profit. I've studied in Kenya. I've studied in Nairobi. But as I speak on TV and I'm interviewed, people in Kisumu, people in Mombasa are asking, when are you coming to Kisumu? When are you coming to Mombasa? So we have a model that is already tested and tried in Nairobi that is working. So we tell the Mombasa people, if you have a quorum of 10 people, then we'll be able to come. Because we have done our costing, and we know that if we have 10 people, we'll be able to go down there every weekend and still have some profit. So have a model, test it, and then have a system that works. How do you get the clients? Because there's a system we teach our people that's called ACR system, how to attract clients, how to convert them, and how to retain them. So if you do that once in one place, you can duplicate it in another place. And once you've started well somewhere and you have a good customer base and you're doing good customer service and you're delivering on your promise, word of mouth begins. Somebody will tell somebody else, then they'll start asking you, because I do training also. So when I do my training, I tell people. One way that has helped me is having a newsletter. I have a weekly newsletter that's called Passion Profit Digest, and it goes out every week with different tips on how to turn your passion into profit. Now I'm getting people that have been in my classes to also participate in part of the writing. So people are getting to see this and are asking, okay, first of all, they're admiring that they can be a writer in part of this newsletter, but they're also getting information on free tips on how to turn their passion into profit. So when they're looking for a speaker on that kind of level, I will come to their mind. So I'm engaging with them, I'm connecting with them. I have an account on Facebook that I engage with people on Twitter and stuff like that. So I'm always engaging with people, and being present on the minds of people over and over again helps them remember you when the need comes. So it's just how you position yourself. When you're engaging with them, giving them tips, helping them to get to know you better, what kind of person are you? So when they need someone like that, your name will pop up in their mind. So newsletter, website, and just being involved in the social media definitely helps to get you out there. Yes.
In terms of web presence or getting yourself using the social networks,
Yes.
what are the specific tips that you would give? Because again, the web is a very huge area.
Yes, yes.
How do you stand out and make yourself unique?
Number one, I wouldn't get into the SEO type stuff because that is all specialized. But one, as a speaker or anybody in business, you want to have a simple website, what I call a catalog website,
Yes.
that can tell people about your service and your products and the solutions that you bring to the marketplace. It needs to be simple and it needs to be easy to navigate so that people can get the information they're looking for just by clicking and not getting lost in the maze. So you want it simple, colors that match your branding and that kind of thing. So the first thing, the website. And then the second thing, social media, Facebook. Facebook, have your picture on Facebook. If you have a page on that's going to talk about your business, have the colors of your business. You find people have Facebook, they put funny pictures, so people can't know who exactly this is. And that's okay if you're just doing Facebook for fun. But if you're doing Facebook for a business, you want to have your real picture or the logo of your company on your Facebook page so people can actually relate with you. Because when they see your picture, it's kind of like they're talking to you. So you want to do that. And then you want to update it regularly. On your Facebook page, you want to update with information about what it is that you do. If you're going, like now I updated that I was coming for an interview at K24. People that follow me can tell their friends can get to see what I'm doing and get to understand more about Passion Profit. And then, so that's on Facebook. And then on Twitter, you can have, like on Twitter, my handle is @passionpreneur. Something that will cause somebody to think, what is a passionpreneur? And it can get a conversation going, And then on LinkedIn, I have a professional profile because it's a professional website. So I have a professional profile on LinkedIn of me, and then again, I have a page. On the page, I control the discussions that go in there. On the page, it's mostly people have to request to join. So that way, I don't flood my page with people that are trying to sell stuff, because I'm also trying to sell my stuff. So the people that come into the LinkedIn page is a moderated page, and mostly it's people that either I know or people that have joined the class. So we can be able to have conversations around Passion Profit and how to help people turn their passion into profit. Those three. And then now, thank God, we have different apps that can help you update all three of them at the same time, so you don't have to keep worrying, I need to log into Facebook, or I need to log into Twitter. But if you have, like I use one called Hootsuite, and depending on the kind of phone you have, if you have a smartphone, you can also have those apps. So you just get to update once, and it goes into all the three of them, and it keeps you current. And people begin to feel they know you because they're interacting with you, they ask you questions. So when you meet with them, the ice is already broken a little bit. Yes.
And I think that's a very crucial tip because, the social networks have become a very powerful medium.
Absolutely.
That we cannot ignore. Now, in terms of structuring the speech or whatever whatever message you want to put across.
Yes.
What are some of the tips that you will give to somebody who wants to speak? Of course, has already identified what they want to speak about, who they want to speak to, but just don't know how do I structure this so it delivers a good punch.
I normally say have 3 to 5 things that you want, practical things that you want your speech to do. Again, I use Passion Profit as an example. The Passion Profit keynote speech has 5 tips of how to turn your passion into profit. So there are 5 easy tips I can give. Like right now, I can tell you what the 5 tips are. Tip 1, you need to gain clarity. Tip 2, you need to take action. Tip 3, you need to go for success, conquer your fear, and then embrace the 2 Ps. The 2 Ps are patience and perseverance. So those are things that I know. You can wake me up in the middle of the night, I'll tell you about them. So I can either tell you the 5 tips to turn your passion into profit, and I tell you those tips. And then you can say, we need you to speak for just about 10 minutes. Then I'll expand a little more on them. Or we need you to speak for a half-day program. Now I'll get into how to gain clarity. Why is it important to gain clarity before you take action? People normally jump and take action. They see somebody has started a business and they jump out and start the business, but they're not yet clear. Are they wired for that kind of business? Are they willing to do the sacrifice that that kind of business takes? But for me to come up with these 5 tips, I had to have helped people to turn their passion into profit. So I sat down and thought, the people that I've helped in the past, I looked at their feedback forms. What are some of the things they said I did with them that helped them? So out of that, I could see a thread within these 5 tips. So that's how I came up with my 5 tips. So if I was working with somebody else, I would go through the same process with them. What is it that they want to speak about? Why do they think that this is going to help their audience or help the society? What are some of the things that they have done that have brought results in that area of speaking? And then we package it. Once we package it, then we have the different, the short form, the long form, the keynote. We help them do the PowerPoint presentation. And then at the end of the speech, what do you want to happen? Okay, like when I do an open event with my keynote speech, at the end of that speech, I want people to sign up for the Passion Profit 8-week program. So I'm ready with the system. So you come for the talk, I tell you the 5 tips, you understand that these 5 tips you need a little more support. So I let you know that there is a class that you can come for that, for that kind of thing. So I have a form ready for you to fill. I have the registration process for you. You can pay registration right there, or you can come to the office later and pay the registration. So the whole system is set before you ever come out. So it's not just jumping out and, starting, like somebody may call you once to speak and you're like, and they give you an envelope at the speech and you begin to think, I could do this for a living. But it takes a little bit more than that. You need to have a system in place that you can duplicate so you can continue getting the same results, good results. Yes.
Monitoring those results. How does one get that feedback that I think I've made a mark, I think I've made a point which is likely to inspire these people to take the next step?
Part of the process, like every time I do a speech, at the end of it, there's a evaluation form people fill out. Very simple, not many questions. How did they hear about the program? What one thing impressed them about the program? What are some things they did not like about the program? What are other things they would like to see in the program? And like, see, when you tell somebody to tell you what is one thing that you liked about the program, that will show the impact you had on them. What is one thing you did not like? That gives you something that you should stop doing or maybe you need to adjust. And then 3 other things you'd like to see in this program gives you more free information of how to improve. So having a feedback form is very, very vital. And then you make it anonymous so people are willing to really air their views. And then read the thing and make sure you adopt some of the things that you're hearing there. Because if somebody gave you a tip and next time they hear you speak and they don't see you apply it, then it kind of gets discouraging. Yeah.
So you have to be an example of what you...
Yes. And then the same information you get on your feedback form is valuable because that is what you use like on your website, to tell people that I've spoken to, these are some of the results that they have gotten. So you start keeping a track of, a track history of the good things that is happening every time you speak.
Yeah, we'll take a short break and we'll delve further into that. And especially, I think now also looking at the general world of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
How to make an impact once you've identified your passion.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Viewer, this is Business Watch, and we are focusing on how to turn passion into profit. And I am with Frida Owinga, who is a passionpreneur, trainer, and coach with Passion Profit School of Entrepreneurship. And she's been giving us tips on how to turn the passion around speaking into profit. And we'll be getting your feedback. If you have any questions around this topic, please send them to the number 2101 or interact with us through our social network site on K24. We'll be back right after this break.
Finally, here's a new show.
This is Business Watch, where we put the spotlight on the business arena, seeking insights into business issues that matter to you. And I'm Stephen Kimani. And on today's show, We focus on you and the workplace and how to make you more productive in what you're doing. And the topic of discussion today is how to turn passion into profit, how to identify what you really want to do and make it profitable over the long haul. And here with me to discuss this topic is Frida Owinga, who is a passionpreneur, trainer and coach at Passion Profit School of Entrepreneurship. Now, just before we took a break, you mentioned that it's important for one to know what they are wired for. We've delved a lot on speech. Mm-hmm. What about other areas? How do I know that I'm wired for business, for example?
When I wouldn't say you're wired. Well, being wired for business is a very broad and general way of looking at it. We break it down to things that you enjoy doing, things that people have asked you to do, things that come easily to you. And the reason we do that, that's why we call ourselves Passion to Profit, is so that we help you develop a business that you will enjoy doing. And yes, eventually the business will grow and you'll employ people, but it's a trade that you understand. It is something that you enjoy. When the going gets tough, you will stick with it. You will not stop. And one thing I've discovered is when we go through the process of trying to find out what is somebody's passion, because normally these are people that are in, I don't know that to call them midlife, but they're people between the ages of 30 and 40, 45. So they have worked some, they've gone to school, either they're studying a family or thinking of starting a family. So I find that they're always thinking about the current job they're doing. And sometimes it takes me digging a little deeper to find out, what are you about? What really makes you tick? And a good example is, I'll try to talk about the situation without giving the name or the idea. But a good example is I have a lady in class that she's interested in a section of the arts. And that's not what she does now. She's in administration right now. But she was finding it, trying to narrow it down that is what she's passionate about was kind of like a little struggle. And so I asked about that. How did you decide to train for this particular thing that you're doing now? And the answer came out. She said, because when I wanted to go to school in the arts arena during that time and during my age, everybody thought that was a joker's field, that would never make money. So it was thought it was more productive to do shorthand than you can go and become a secretary. But now here she is today. She's going back to that section of the arts, and that's the business that we're going to help her develop. And it's going to be a lucrative business. Yes.
So perhaps maybe my question was more specific on wired for which business, because essentially I think most of us, in terms of identifying business ideas, you want to look at what's popular, what's a current trend, what looks most profitable.
If you go the route of finding out what's the popular trend, what's profitable. For instance, ICT is popular, it's trendy. But do you like computers? Do you have an email? How often do you check that email? So you can tell if you're wired for that. I have somebody in class who I knew immediately that, when I started following them on Twitter, long before we discovered that they're going to do something in ICT, that they were going to go that way. Because this person tweets, and they tweet ICT type tweets, and they give information, free information about ICT. So I could tell they're wired for that business. I don't know if that helps.
Yes.
But so the things that, capture your attention and take your time and you spend a lot of time on are a clear indication of what you're wired for. And it's better for you to go that route as opposed to going somewhere that you're not. For instance, I like food, but I don't like cooking. And I like to eat. If I started a restaurant, I'd be clueless about, getting the proper chef and that kind of thing. My sister, on the other hand, she likes food and she likes to cook, and she cooks very well. And I always tell her, you'll excel at having a restaurant, and it's one thing that she plans to do one day. She's in the US when she comes back home, to have a restaurant with special needs, So that's her wiring. You see the difference?
Yes.
Yeah. You put me in a farm, I'll die. Because I hate mud. Okay?
Soil.
Yes, I hate soil. Earth, whatever you call it. But there's that person who wants to go and visit? In fact, I had a lady like that in class. She's buying a farm. She's thinking of having pigs, you know. She's thinking of strawberries. And I'm connecting her with people in the agribusiness because that's what she wants. You know, she's wired for it because those are things, even though she's working in an office now, but those are the things she dreams about. So that's what you're constantly dreaming about, things that take your attention are a clear indication of what you are wired for.
But then there's also the fear of the unknown. I might venture into this and fail.
You will never know until you venture, Steve. Fear of the unknown. I always tell people in my class, because like one of the tips for turning your passion into profit is conquer your fear. And I always tell people in class that number one, when you're going to start something new, your mind will be sending out signals. Danger, danger, we'll sink, we'll die. So that is normal. So you have to stop and find out, why is my mind sending me these signals? What exactly am I fearing? And conquer that fear, deal with it and move on. But if you allow that fear to stop you, you will never know. If you could have been the next great M-Pesa guy, I don't know, you know, you have to.
The next Steve Jobs.
The next Steve Jobs, you know, because Steve Jobs was there, he was like, he just kept telling them, I want a phone with one button. And they kept telling him it cannot be done. And he kept telling them, it can be done, just go and think again. I want it done. The thing is, whatever your mind can conceive, you can achieve. That's the way we are created, by the laws of God. That's the way the laws of attraction people talk about it. But whatever you can conceive, you can achieve. So if you can just be willing to manage that risk, to take small steps, and failing is okay. You don't have to stay down. You dust yourself and keep going on. The great people that we hear about today, they failed several times. Thomas Edison, good example. You know, so you're willing to fail. You can't, you know, and it's not just understanding that because it didn't work out the first time, it's not the end. That is a temporary situation, and you must never make a permanent decision on a temporary situation.
You must never make a permanent decision on a temporary situation. I like that statement. But then still, you might just keep trying, and things don't seem to be working. How do you keep the persistence and focus towards what you really feel, I want to do this?
If you keep, that's the beauty of the class. Because in the coaching concept, you're a small group, and the small group acts as your board of advisors. You bounce ideas off on us. If we laugh at them, then you go and adjust it. People that struggle, normally they're struggling on their own, and they're not listening to what their clients want. Sometimes we get very emotional and married to our ideas. And I often tell people that you are not your best client. So listen to what the clients are saying. Listen to what your target audience is saying, and be willing to make the necessary adjustments. A simple thing like a name can kill a business. You know, so is that name communicating your promise? Is that name catchy? Is that name going to live beyond you? Because the names that people take and the names that are dated, like, and no offense, things like, you know, so-and-so divas. There's going to come a time where divas is not in, and that time is here, really, you know, and you're already stuck with this diva thing that you had a Sharia house. You know, people are thinking, that's out, that's old. So little things like that. And that's how the class helps you. And see, we say we're here from idea to reality and beyond. It's a coaching process. We provide support, we provide business clinics, and we have other coaches that work with you. Like legal and finance, I get a coach, another coach to do that. You know, somebody said, why don't you just read up, you know, on the legal things and then help people with that? I'm not interested. I'm not wired to do legal stuff. So let the person who's wired to do it, do it. Yeah.
We have an SMS here, and let me just read it. Teens have passions. Can you work with them? What about NGOs?
I work with anybody that has a passion and wants to turn it into profit. And I love the teens because their mind is still, you can still mold their mind. Older people are so set in their ways. So yes, I can work with them.
Maybe perhaps as a foretaste, and before we close, perhaps we'll give some more details on how people can find you, Passion Profit. working with teenagers, because I think that's really the most vulnerable age, where you're all confused, you don't know. I mean, at one point you think you want to become a musician, the next time you want to become an engineer, the next, you want to become a pilot. How do you help a teenager channel their passion into an area that they'll focus their lives on?
Number one is not wait for them until they're a teenager. Start with them a little earlier. Okay? So, and that's what they do in America. They have career counselors, career advisors that help you from a very early age to understand what you're wired for. Okay, like the subjects you excel in and the different jobs that are available. So, fine. If you're already a teenager, the first thing is to speak with you and to get you to understand what are your aspirations. And oftentimes, people are not clear. And like I've been told that the teenager's dream is to live in the leafy suburb and drive a big car and this and the other. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's a picture they have seen based on the images we're giving them through the media. But now it's narrowing, speaking with this person to get to understand what makes you tick. If money was not an issue, if I gave you $1 million today, what would you do with it? And then maybe they'll say it is music, and then help them to package their music or connect them with people that do music. So the bottom of the line is gaining clarity. What is this person passionate about? And then you'll find that a lot of the teens, they're not passionate about school, because our school system, a school system just, makes you come, summer, all these things, and then you have to be number one. If you're not number one, everybody looks at you like you're crazy. We can't all be number one, and then you have to be the top 10 or have a certain index number or go to a certain school. I mean, it's just not helping the teen, So when I sit with them, I try to think, what makes you tick? And I put a 10 on their forehead. Because maybe they've already been beaten by their class teacher. You'll never amount to anything. The mother has already told them, you need to be a lawyer or a pharmacist or you can't make it, So the first thing I do is I put a 10 on their forehead. I tell them, you're cool. Uko poa. Okay, what makes you tick? We just have a conversation. And you'll be amazed at the ideas that come out of them. They're creative. They're amazingly creative. And it doesn't take a whole lot of money to start something. So there is hope for the teens, and I can work with them.
How about the young adults? Probably somebody who's just come out of university and is trying to find their way around.
Same process. Number one, gaining clarity. And for the young professional, it kind of becomes, one has to be careful, because they start feeling like, okay, so are you trying to tell me that the 4 years I've done are wasted? Because I have a friend, I know a lady that wanted to be a dentist, but she missed going to dental school by just a couple of points, and she did biochemistry, and she's now stuck with it. So I was like, why did you do that? She said, but I couldn't go for parallel because of the school fees and stuff like that. So again, if it's possible to catch the young professional before they graduate, for them to make the necessary adjustments that they need to make, and it's better. You will save yourself a whole lot of time.
Before we close, probably you could just give our viewers your contacts, where to find you on the web.
Okay.
Yep.
On the web, our website is www.passion2profit.co. There's no M at the end or .ke. People normally add that. So that website again is www.passion2profit.co. You can be my friend on Facebook, Frida Owinga. That's Frida without an H or an E. And you can call us on the phone, 0715-356571. Yes.
Good. And indeed, we hope that you'll be able to help more people turn their passion.
I look forward to doing that, Steve.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Good.
Great.
Indeed, viewer, we've been discussing how to turn passion into profit, and indeed now you know that clarity is important in identifying what you really want to do and be able to become a productive member of society. For now, we have to take a break for Eyewitness News. My name is Stephen Kimani. Thanks a lot for watching.